All right. Well, hi, hello, and welcome to Defend Against Critical Data Attacks. Now, today's exciting webinar is sponsored by Rubrik and CrowdStrike and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Jess Steinbach. I'm with Actual Tech Media, and I'm so excited that I get to be your moderator for this conversation because we have all fallen in love with data. It's the fuel, it's the accelerant, it is the thing that powers our growth and our goals. It is absolutely irreplaceable, and the bad guys know it. But here's the good news, because as our landscape becomes more challenging, as the difficulties of backing up and securing our data expand, so do the tools that help us. And one of the things that has empowered this accelerated growth in the innovation space are partnerships, solutions, partnering tools that shake hands and absolutely supercharge the industry. And that is what we will be hearing about today. Now, I'm going to get our expert speakers out here with me in just a moment, but we're going to go through a few very quick housekeeping points, and then we can get this show on the road. All right, so let's start out by taking a little tour, a little wander on over to the questions section of your audience console. Now, I see a lot of returning names here with us today, so I know that you already know what this questions window is for. Show me that you remember. Give me a little hi, give me a hello if you haven't already said hi. Hi, Greg. Hi, Tatiana. Hey, Morteza. Hey, Andrew, Ali, Dustin. I saw Gilbert. We got the whole crew with us. Jorge, everyone's here with us today. Keep those highs and hellos coming. We want to hear from you as we go through our session, and we definitely want to hear your questions. So interact, get involved throughout the discussion, and if you have any technical issues, that's where you can reach out for help from our crew. But as always, I want to remind you that a browser refresh is probably going to clear out most of the usual tech gremlins. But if they've really got a hold of you, if there's something going wrong with slides or audio or something like that today, you can give a little browser refresh. If that doesn't work, you're going to post in the questions window and see if we can help you out. Hey, Matt says, hi, Jess from all of Ohio. All right, Matt, on behalf of all of Ohio, coming in today. I like that. Okay, Matt, as the mouthpiece of Ohio, I appreciate it, and I will respond on behalf of all of Canada. Hello on back. All right, my friends. Well, we've got the questions window out of our way. Now let's talk about the handouts tab. The Handouts tab has some great resources and takeaways for you. And this is going to be really helpful when we're wrapping up our conversation today and you're trying to remember back all the exciting things you're going to hear from our experts. You're going to want to have those tabs open and saved so you can start exploring as soon as we wrap. So open those links now, keep those tabs open, and you will come back to those after we wrap up our session. Gary says, hi from an unknown subset of Minnesota. I don't know, Gary. I spent a lot of time in Minnesota. Try us. We've got some Minnesotans here with us today. I bet you we know where you are. That sounded creepy. I meant it as friendly, Gary. All right, well, we're going to keep things moving along in our session today. The last thing I want to tell you about is the $250 Amazon gift card, which we will have available for you all at the end of our webinar. So again, you do need to be here live and present, and you do need to meet all of the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. If you're not sure what those terms and conditions are, head on over to the Handouts tab, click in, scroll down, you'll find the full T's and C's waiting for you there. Okay, well, that is it for our housekeeping, which means it is time to get into our session. And I am so excited to introduce you to this absolute superstar team that we have here with us, this dynamic duo representing both Rubrik and CrowdStrike. So today we will be chatting with John Murphy, Global Field Chief Security Officer and CISO at Rubrik, as well as Amanda Adams, VP Americas Alliances at CrowdStrike. Now, John and Amanda, I'm so excited to have you here with us today. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about this new shiny partnership between Rubrik and CrowdStrike. So I'm going to hand things on over to you. John, take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. I'm excited to share that Rubrik has officially announced a partnership with industry leader CrowdStrike that delivers the first of many important integrations between our products. As we begin today, just a couple of housekeeping options that we want to talk about. Questions will be answered in a Q&A session after our session, and if we don't get to you, don't worry about it. We will follow up with you separately. Our partnership is designed to help organizations secure their sensitive data. That's what we're going to be talking a lot about today. We're looking to make sure that you have increased visibility of potential threats in your environment, and you've got the ability to speed your response to whatever those threats are. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce everyone to my special co-host today, Amanda Adams from CrowdStrike. Amanda, thank you for joining us, and would you please do a quick introduction for our group today?
Of course. Good morning, good afternoon. It is great to be with everyone today, and thank you for having me, John. I have been with CrowdStrike for a little over 7 years, a little 7.5 years. Prior to CrowdStrike, I have held roles at Tenable and Cisco. During my time at CrowdStrike, I have been in leadership roles across the Alliances organization, from launching global partnerships to leading the European region. Currently, I lead our Americas Alliances region. I've been in the seat for 3 years, and we're focused on driving meaningful partnerships like Rubrik for our customers and partners in North and South America.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael, so
Yep.
much. But let's jump right in. Let's start with discussing our new partnership. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, of course. First, I'm excited about this partnership because the integration directly solves challenges that our customers face on a daily basis. I like to think of it as the opposite of a Barney relationship when it's just all song and dance. There's actual meat to the integration, and it's solving problems that our customers face every single day. When we put the customer at the center of establishing new partnerships and we deliver successful outcomes for organizations, great things happen. CrowdStrike Falcon has become the cybersecurity source of truth and really the platform of record for thousands of organizations globally. And the partnership with Rubrik strengthens CrowdStrike's data gravity, but also to integrating threat detection with data discovery, classification, and backup. We all know that data is like irreplaceable, and this partnership proactively defends against attacks which target and impact critical data. Jointly, we're delivering the visibility and context that security teams of folks that are on the call with us today need to prioritize and accelerate response actions, all from a single platform, which I think is amazing. It's important to note, John, I know we'll talk about this, but not all threats should be treated as equal, and the responses from folks, again, across the globe shouldn't be the same. Many of the customers and organizations that we support and that we see continue to struggle with the advanced attacks from adversaries. We'll get into the global threat report and the trends that we see here in a little bit. But we continue to see, yes, the increase of just sophisticated threats and the speed at which the attacks are taking place and targeting critical data. Our customers continue to have complex or siloed systems, which cause gaps in visibility, which only make the problem worse. And ultimately, they're unable to effectively and efficiently respond to critical attacks in a timely manner. When we think about the partnership and this integration, it delivers three key benefits to organizations and companies today. First, it quickly identifies targeted attacks on data. Customers are able to gain unified visibility of their environment as well as the data to quickly detect and stop potential attacks. We jointly then accelerate the investigation and the prioritization of threats targeting that data. We integrate the threat intelligence and data context, which allows for our customers to have a faster investigation time, which obviously limits their exposure to a potential breach. And then lastly, John, we proactively defend and secure data backups by seamlessly integrating into our platforms, providing continuous monitoring, prevention, and the minimization of damage from the potential attacks that we see on a daily basis.
Yeah, fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic recap, Lana. Thank you. In addition, I add that the gap between threat detection, data discovery, classification for any organization creates significant visibility challenges for security teams. It's all about trying to eliminate as much time from when an event of suspicious nature happens and when you can actually take action. I think the challenge that we've historically had is that there's just a sheer volume of alerts as devices get more chatty, as individual solutions start to give you more and more insight into what they're seeing, you can quickly get lost in the voice. I think the value here is that, with CrowdStrike, we're helping our customers up the ante against the adversaries. We're allowing security teams to identify and defend attacks swiftly, and ultimately boost the cyber resilience of any organization that is challenged with it, whether they're small organizations or whether they're the largest of the large. The powerful combination of Falcon Platform and the Rubrik Security Cloud unifies threat detection with data discovery and classification across cloud and IT infrastructure. It's really designed to deliver that context security teams need to rapidly detect and respond to attacks. Again, drive that mean time down as much as you possibly can. CrowdStrike, given your position in the field, generates the highest fidelity security telemetry and enriches it with industry-leading adversary intelligence and human expertise to power every aspect of the Falcon platform. By unifying it with rich data-centric context that we can provide from a Rubrik perspective, organizations really gain context-sensitive insights into what's happening, such as attack behaviors, critical data being targeted, who's accessing that data. So let's dive into the threat landscape, what organizations should be aware of today. I think a lot of organizations who are viewing this today are aware of these, but it never hurts to sort of talk about what it is that we're seeing from the CrowdStrike perspective as well as a Rubrik perspective. Can you share some highlights of key threats you're seeing?
Course. With the partnership, like you had mentioned, customers will gain context-rich insights. And one of the ways that CrowdStrike provides these findings is through our annual, it's on a calendar year, our global threat report findings. As I had talked about previously, adversaries that we track are continuing to target sensitive information across customers of all sizes to conduct data theft, extortion attacks. And at the same time, though, businesses are struggling with data visibility due to complex technology stacks, creating gaps that adversaries can exploit. When you think about CrowdStrike's global threat report, it's one of the most trusted sources of modern cybersecurity landscape just because we report on findings. It comes from our intelligence team. It's not a sales tool. It's a sales tool, and we see thousands and thousands of activities every single day, right? So we're able to see trends, specific adversaries and their behaviors, as well as industry or vertical specific information so that customers can gain an understanding of that context that it provides that we just talked about. It reports on the findings of critical events as well as trends, which are defined in the calendar year, exposing the adversaries behind them. In the 2024 Global Threat Report, we found 34 newly named adversaries from 2023. So that raises, John, the number of total adversaries tracked by CrowdStrike to 232. The adversaries range from nation states to hacktivists to e-criminals. There's a whole group of adversaries that we track when it comes to they have specific objectives and behaviors they use to attack critical data. And again, we provide our customers that information so they understand who's behind the activity they see or may see within their environment. In 2023, the adversaries increase their speed and precision in attacks. And I think that it's important to note that just like we're getting better, this partnership is super strong. The adversaries are improving how they go about attacking our customers on a daily basis. The average breakout time has decreased to 62 minutes on average, so a little over an hour. If you don't know what breakout time is, basically after an adversary gains initial access into a network, adversaries will seek to break out and move laterally from the compromised host to other hosts within the environment. And the time that it takes for them to do this is what we call a breakout time. It's crucial because the initially compromised machines are rarely the ones the adversaries actually need to achieve their goals. So they need to break out in order to steal information. And we'll talk about ransomware here in a little bit. The fastest record recorded breakout time from last year was 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So it's faster than I can go get a cup of coffee. Somebody was able to break into an environment as well as move laterally. And that just shows how critical it is to be able to detect and respond with speed, right? And so our partnership, again, provides that context, the information, so that folks are able to efficiently respond. And while ransomware does remain the tool of choice for many of the adversaries that we track and we report on, data theft extortion continues to be an attractive and often easier monetization route, as evidenced by the 76% increase in the number of victims named on dedicated leak sites between 2022 and 2023. There's a lot of great information within the Global Threat Report, especially if you're in a specific vertical or industry, and I know we'll share that information following this webinar.
Excellent. Amazing, amazing information. And that shortest time that you observed is just incredible. When you think about what we used to talk about, someone breaking into your network and taking potentially weeks to do some reconnaissance and then take some action, and now we're down to 62 seconds in some cases before breakout. It's just unbelievable. I'd like to add a little bit of that to the stats for people to consider. As we talk about, we also have a great report. In addition to the independent reporting you do, Rubrik also does independent reporting through Rubrik Zero Labs, run by our own great Steve Stone. If you don't have access to that data, just hit our website. We've got all the reports that we've put together so far, and Steve's got a great new one on healthcare coming up soon. But the thing that we see typically, and just supporting some of the things that you've mentioned, Amanda, the challenges in defending attacks on data, prioritizing and responding to threats quickly, these are the biggest challenges that organizations face. It's no longer a case that you've got all this great tooling, you've got too much tooling. And some of it comes down to just, death by alerts in some cases. So getting to what's important versus what's not important, I think is top of mind for every organization. Typically what we see also, legacy solutions are disparate. And so when you look at the typical landscape for cyber defense, you've got 20 or maybe more tools that you have in your environment. Some of them are run by infrastructure, some of them are run by your own internal security team, and maybe there's a hybrid set of tooling as well. But the challenge is that there's tons of data. There's just not a lot of actionable data coming from it. We see, as part of Steve's reporting, 98% of those external organizations believe that they currently have significant data visibility challenges. And of that, 66% of external organizations believe that data growth has already outpaced their ability to secure data and manage it. You can talk about the targets for that. Primarily, it's going to be cost. It's no longer costly to keep data. So we end up doing a lot with it in terms of not retiring it, not getting rid of it, and adding to it. And finally, the last point I bring up there is less than 4% of organizations, according to Steve's research, have a dedicated sensitive data storage location, which means that sensitive data is sitting everywhere on the network. And that becomes a real challenge for IT teams and security teams and legal and management teams. I mean, figure out what exactly do we have and what's our exposure in the event that something would happen. And can we prepare for that in advance? So, Amanda, you mentioned ransomware, and of course, that's a key concern. It's more than an encryption, though. It's data theft, it's extortion, it's reputational damage, public relations nightmares, social media, and all the things that go with being hyper aware of everything that's happening, and everyone who has an opinion to share on it. And let's talk about the regulatory environment. The regulatory environment is, for lots of valid reasons, increasing the visibility that they expect and the transparency they expect from organizations. Can you talk a little bit more about ransomware as a key threat and what organizations can do to stay ahead of it?
Absolutely. So when you think about ransomware, we've talked about this for years now, and unfortunately, it continues to be a common threat and it's constantly evolving. Last year, 3/4, so 75% of organizations suffered at least one ransomware attack, and we saw a 76% increase in data theft victims, which were named on the dark web. So that's an incredible jump from 2022, based off of the trends that we saw in 2023. And from a customer standpoint, traditional security approaches and individual point solutions, if you're buying best of breed, but they don't integrate together, it's not enough to combat the increase in ransomware attacks. They don't provide the visibility across all workloads and add complexity to our customers' environments, making the process to, one, identify the threats, but then two, effectively respond actually slower for their security teams, which is the opposite of what we need to do within ransomware and attacks. Organizations continue to turn to a more modern approach to reduce their mean time to response against live attacks by focusing on getting the right adversary intelligence, the context, and the visibility that's required to identify and stop potential attacks. CrowdStrike secures the most critical areas of enterprise risk, from endpoints to cloud to workloads to identity to data, to stay ahead of today's threats and successfully stop ransomware. We see a massive data set of over a trillion events per day, and coupled with our threat intelligence, Crowd is able to quickly identify, but also to block ransomware.
Excellent. Fantastic. And this goes right to the point that we
Yeah.
started with, which is dropping that mean time down to detect and respond as low as possible. For those of you who may not be aware of Rubrik or may not be too familiar with what we do, I'll give you some insights into what we do to add and pray things in the end of this just recount. So Rubrik's data security capabilities are proven to prevent threat actors from accessing your data through our immutable file system, zero trust architecture, API first approach. What that really means is that once we initiate a backup of your data, only we have access to it. So at some point, if you need to go back to a known good restoration point, we do keep that. We keep a track for you, and you to easily identify where that is. Our approach to identify sensitive data is at the point of backup. So that moves that critical data protection, data security milestone way forward. So as you understand what sensitive data you have, as soon as data is ingested by Rubrik, we can start to report on it. And you don't need any additional tools. You don't need any additional cost. That's all part of what we deliver. The ability to run your own searches for what's most important to your organization is also critical. So we do come with 60 plus different types of analyzers for sensitive data. Things are PII, PCI, GDPR, et cetera. But Every organization is different, and every organization has their own things that are most important to them. So we allow you to do that through your own regex expressions if you need to, or whatever criteria you choose. But we're essentially giving you the ability to look at all that data well before you should ever be involved in an incident response or an investigation of some kind. And visibility. So visibility, risk management teams to enable proactive response planning. We talk a lot about technology and infrastructure teams and security teams, and they're vital, but also risk managers are part of this equation. We want to make sure that risk management teams understand what the organization has in terms of data, where it is, and whether or not it's still critical to be retained or should be protected even more than it is being protected today. Mike Tyson has a great line that everybody has fun until you get punched in the face. Now, I love that line and I use it all the time, but the ability to anticipate and plan your responses in various scenarios well before the event is critical. Rubrik delivers that today. This partnership, it takes us to the next level by delivering valuable insights that reduce the time between when something suspicious is identified and when you become aware of it, so that you can take faster action to mitigate. The value of having Rubrik and CrowdStrike data in one place and the excitement of why Rubrik and CrowdStrike integration to defend against ransomware is such a big deal, I think is pretty clear to first-line defenders.
Right.
As we talk about what that translates to then in terms of the strategic response, do you have any advice for peers on how to build a solid security strategy, protect their critical data?
I mean, from an industry standpoint, within the last year, John, and I would say 9 months for the last year, the main focus has been how do we make it easier for customers to protect their organizations? And the trends are consolidation and really just simplifying what is in their environment and how they all work together. We should be focused on unifying the visibility of data, right? But we're also enabling modern solutions that keep up with the modern threats. Being able to ingest the Rubrik data into the CrowdStrike console, see all that data, but then also take action, ensures that you have the best of breed solutions in place that integrate together to consolidate point products. I think the stat is there's like 18 different technologies within organizations that are deployed that never actually get pushed out to the entire environment because it's too complex. And if it doesn't integrate, it creates those silos and those gaps, which adversaries love. Right. The name of the game currently is speed, right? So if your tools are able to talk together, they're able to come out of the box with a unified integration, if you're able to unify the threat detection and response, you're going to vastly reduce the complexity for your teams, but also to accelerate overall operations and your ability to find and stop potential threats. Really, I know that sounds very simple, but the simplicity is also key, right? Your IT and security teams should work together in unison. It's always fun when you get the dev team, the security team, the IT teams. They tend to have their own initiatives or projects they're working on. But at the end of the day, you need the right tools in place to make sure that you're seamlessly working together so that you don't create more gaps within your environment. The IT and security stack should integrate fairly seamlessly, and we should leverage. We haven't talked about it, and I know it's the key phrase of the year is all automation and AI to make the lives easier for your teams. When you think about they can focus on the jobs effectively, we use AI from the policies, the dashboarding, the questions that you're able to ask, honestly, just to make the day-to-day jobs of the folks that are using the technology easier. And if their lives are easier and they can focus on the more strategic activities and projects that need their mind share, obviously that allows customers to protect their environments as well. Lastly, I know that budget continues to be a main consideration. It's a main consideration for all of us on the phone when we talk about building out security strategy. Budget considerations, but also to the prioritizations. And I would say that as we work with customers, when we focus on cost is very different than price, right? So by choosing platforms that are effective, best in class, that you consolidate from an integration standpoint, we look at the actual long-term costs that are reduced by integrating with companies like Rubrik for our organizations, because we can remove or reduce the tools that they already have in place today. So there's a lot to think about, but our goal is to make securing your environment easier for everybody within your organization. And you do that by simple integration, just like we have with Rubrik.
Yeah, well said. And I think that the other things you point to there. So we talk about technology a lot in this conversation because of the integration and all the things that come with it. But I think the people in the process side and also deserve to mention here. Our biggest challenge is, as we talked about, just the amount of data that we're seeing and the inability to necessarily make heads or tails of it in the timeline that works best to defend your organization. The people process side of it, I think, is very, very similar. And I think we're getting to the point now where we no longer see that there are silos between InfoSec and dev and information or infrastructure management, et cetera. But the key things that we keep coming back to, I think, are pretty straightforward for teams to absorb and take on board. And those are simple things like define what scenarios you're most concerned about. What are they? And then practice on those. Practice till you're right, we as I often say, just to get people to the point where they're comfortable working with each other, because they're not independent teams working for different companies, right? We're all one part of a single organization. So the more comfortable we are and the more work we do to clear the boundaries of who does what and who makes what decisions from a governance perspective, the better off we're going to be. And then last piece, I think automation and AI, the impact that AI is going to have on identifying places where we can cut out a lot of that downtime, or that lost time rather, and inform people across the organization that much faster, is only going to increase greatly in the next couple of years. I think we see major vendors investing in co-pilot applications, certainly in all the things that they want to do and make the most of the data they're presenting. And I think now organizations have the opportunity to pick and choose among the best of those, and make sure that they've got plans for the simplest work cases rather. And as they go through that, they can progressively increase the sensitivity and the importance of some of those use cases. But a lot of it comes down to just practicing and working together. The less noise we have to deal with, the better off we are. And once you eliminate what's not important to team lead doing through this integration, you can focus on what's most important. So I know that there's a lot of excitement around our partnership. Can you highlight some of the things that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, and I think that the market too of the excitement that has been around, or I guess has been created around the launch of our integration. I mean, the market has validated, our customers have asked for this integration because there's a reason for that when it comes into the best in class solutions that our customers want to integrate to make their lives easier, right? Our partnership represents a commitment to providing advanced cybersecurity solutions to our joint customers. Again, I always like to think about putting the customer at the center of all that we do. Are we doing integrations that will deliver value and successful outcomes for them? This partnership does that. Looking ahead, I'm excited for our partnership to expand as we continue to work on further integrating our platforms, enabling our customers to quickly identify and respond to targeted attacks on their data. And by continuing to share Rubrik's in-depth data-centric context with Falcon Platform, we're going to help our customers unify their cybersecurity visibility to get ahead of the advanced attacks.
Without a doubt, without a
Yeah.
doubt. And I would add to that, my simple view with this is, in the short term, enhanced visibility, enhanced enrichment, and enhanced simplicity for what we're doing today. In the medium term, centralized information and the ability to quickly interrogate, follow up, and continually drop down response times. And longer term, I think AI impacts on reducing the sheer volume of things that we're looking at and making it easier to build unified responses across the entire organization, whether it's technology or business. I think it's a critical next gen kind of deliverable that we're looking for, all of us are looking for from a response perspective.
Right.
I think the other piece that is most important is Rubrik is an API first company, but we're founded that way. We believe that that is the way to go in the future. And this level of integration, where we're talking directly via APIs, cuts down a lot of the time to become aware and to respond to what's happening in the environment. And then giving actionable data intelligence driven by Rubrik's ability to identify user access sensitive data, user sensitive data, file activities, and so on. Also addresses some of the things that we see from an identity perspective that are much bigger holes in the tent, or shoulder holes in the tent. But certainly what we're doing here is we're highlighting some of what we see from a different perspective, which I think only helps organizations as we go forward. Wow. So we've had a lot of conversation here. We're talking about that integration file that you're probably seeing on your screens now. Essentially, what we're talking about here is by unifying rich data context and Rubrik, the security cloud with CrowdStrike's threat intelligence and security telemetry, the integration gives us security teams more visibility and context to quickly identify, prioritize, and respond to threats that are targeting sensitive data. Customers can now ingest and visualize Rubrik's data context directly within CrowdStrike Falcon's log scale dashboard. streamlining security operations and minimizing complexity and threat detection and response. Next steps. For those of you who want to learn more, we have a QR code that you'll probably see in your comment section. Click on that code, give us a call directly. You can reach out to us in our teams. But more importantly, take some action. Learn if this is something that might benefit your organization, and if so, let's have a deeper conversation.
Lastly, too, John, I wanted to call out that customers that are on the phone today with us can actually try the integration. You can explore through the CrowdStrike marketplace. So if you go to your CrowdStrike UI, if you go to the CrowdStrike website, you can search for the Rubrik integration. Again, look for that QR code, scan it, and you can actually try it today, which is pretty fun.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. This is one of the things that most excites me about where we are in general. A lot of the things that we're bringing out, between us, is that this is no longer a multi-week or a multi-month POC process. We can demonstrate these capabilities through.
That's right.
So let's pivot. Let's talk a little bit about Q&A, and I see a couple of questions that come up in the comment screen. So let's talk about the first one here. What are the top differentiators of this integration compared to others in the market? And then maybe I'll leave that one to you.
Yeah, go ahead. When we think about what makes us different together, I really focus on the ability to give the insights and the visibility to our customers to accelerate the investigation. Again, going back to that record time of just over 2 minutes, this integration provides the additional context so that our customers are able to take rapid response if there was something within their environment. Coupled with that, though, it's effective recovery and restoration to streamline their security and IT operations to really keep the business moving forward. I think with Falcon Complete, but with CrowdStrike and how we manage and work with our customers, making sure that their business continuity, as well as making sure that if there's restoration, we have partners like Rubrik that help that be efficient as well as streamlined. And this is what the integration provides today, which is exciting.
Fantastic. So we've talked about a lot in terms of organizations and complexity and all those good things, but we know that many of our customers are really small organizations and they're struggling a little bit with trying to pull all this together. If you have a small team, how easy is it to set up this integration and begin realizing value from your perspective?
I would say if I could do it, anybody can do it, right? So if you go to the CrowdStrike marketplace and click the actual Rubrik listing, it takes you right to the integration. You would plug in your API keys on the CrowdStrike side and get going. Within the log scale documentation within the CrowdStrike UI, there's actually a step-by-step guide and documentation to help you get started, and you can see the value within minutes. Like John had mentioned, this is not a week or a month or a multi-month type of POV. This is you can leave this call today, or if you are a multitasker like me, you can open up the browser, go to the CrowdStrike marketplace listing, and try it.
All right, that sounds almost too easy. And that
It's really sweet.
brings up our next question is, can you bring Rubrik that data together with other data sources as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned how Rubrik is API first within the CrowdStrike Falcon platform. You can unify third-party data as well as CrowdStrike Falcon data all in one place. You'll get a holistic view of your environment by ingesting the data from sources like email, web, endpoint, cloud data, and more. And then it all unifies within our single command console. From there, your teams or folks within your team can correlate the intel and gain access to the AI native capabilities we talked about earlier through Charlotte, which is our tool. It's like a co-pilot, but that helps speed up the threat detection, investigations, and response. We love all data. Yes, first-party CrowdStrike data, but also third-party, more the merrier into the CrowdStrike platform.
Fantastic, Amanda. I know we have covered a lot in this platform, in this session, rather, but I certainly hope everyone has taken some things that they want to get investigate a little bit further and get started with. I want to thank you, Amanda, for joining us today and for sharing this exciting news about our integration and the things to come. I'm most excited about what we're going to see as we move forward together with CrowdStrike. And anybody who is out there has additional questions that we didn't get to, feel free to post those questions. We'll make sure we get back to what we do and follow up afterwards. With that said, Amanda, thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Everybody have a fantastic day, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, John and Amanda. What a wonderful conversation. I agree. Lots of great takeaways and really exciting to hear about this integration, this partnership. I'm really looking forward to hearing a little bit more about what comes out of this. And I hope that for all of you out there, I know I can see that there's still a lot of questions coming in. And as John said, we're going to make sure that those are sent to the Rubrik team. And so you will get some responses back to those if we didn't get to you in the live Q&A today. So do stay tuned for that. But definitely a great way to make sure that you get more information right away. There's a couple of resources in the handouts tab. One is a blog post all about this recent launch. So you can explore a little bit. I love when they have that little ticker at the top that tells you it's a 5-minute read. So just a quick little 5-minute read that's going to give you some insight into some of the key benefits and just kind of recapping what we just heard from John and Amanda. There's also links to both the Rubrik and CrowdStrike websites, so you can spend a little time exploring those, get to know some of their resources, and again, kind of start to get that conversation rolling, because, this is just the brain tickly, the brain sparkly, lady uppy moment. And then from here, you get to put it into action. You get to see how this might work for you. So spend a little time exploring those websites and make sure you've got that blog post open. While you're doing all of that, I am going to give away our $250 Amazon gift card, and that is going to a lucky winner who is live and present here at the webinar. And that special someone is Xavier Cotto from California. Xavier Cotto from California. Congratulations to you, Xavier. Now, as always, we will get in touch about claiming your prize after we wrap up the webinar. All right. Well, with that, my friends, I hate to say this, but we're going to have to leave it there. On behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to once again thank Rubrik and CrowdStrike for making this webinar possible, especially to our incredible speakers, John and Amanda. Both of you have given us a lot to think about today. You've gotten us really excited about this partnership, and I think really kickstarted some interesting conversations that will carry forward, which of course brings me around to all of you, because you are all my biggest high five, my biggest thank you. The biggest gold star goes to all of you for joining in. I saw some great questions coming in. I love seeing all your wonderful names and all the days you're having, the sunny places and the gloomy places, and everywhere in between that you're joining us from. So thank you for taking time out of your day to come and be a part of this discussion today. And I think every day you sort of remind me of the power of these sorts of collaborative learning environments. So thank you for that. I hope that you're leaving feeling excited. I hope that you're going to spend a little time with CrowdStrike and Rubrik. And most of all, I hope that I get to see you all again soon. Until then, have an absolutely beautiful end to your day.